Welcome to the NitWits, a weekly roundtable discussion on the Penn State Nittany Lions. Our panel features a longtime Penn State media and NitWits tag team, Neil Rudell of the Altoona Mirror and Mark Brennan of Lions 247 with Fight on State. The NitWits are hosted by WTAJ Sports Director Peter Terpstra, and each week we welcome a former Nittany Lion as our special guest analyst. The NitWits are brought to you by Irwin Financial, Raymond James, an independent firm and a firm foundation for your financial future. By Coldwell Banker, no one will work harder to sell your home. By Courtesy Motor Sales of Altoona, where courtesy means a great deal. By The Allegro, where fine cuisine is a way of life. By Health South, your rehab choice. Health South Altoona, ask for us by name. By Monarch Cleaners, for all your dry cleaning, uniform, and mat rentals. By Reed and Solaney Orthodontics. Doctors Reed and Solaney provide orthodontics for children and adults. By W.S. Lee & Sons, your local food distributor. Go Penn State. By Allegheny Street Cigar. Allegheny Street Cigar, Blair County's only cigar lounge. By McAleer's Plumbing, specializing in plumbing, heating, and air conditioning, serving our community since 1886. By Shields Awards and the Sports Shop. We have a fantastic selection of awards, apparel, and memorabilia at great prices. By Freedom RV. Get ready to tailgate this Penn State football season with Freedom RV Rentals. By Jethro's, serving ribs, steaks, Italian specialties, and the famous Prospector Salad since 1983. Takeouts, delivery, and catering. By Lucky's Beer Distributor. Let Lucky's Beer get you ready for PSU game day. By Remax Results Realty Group. Committed to a culture of professionalism, productivity, and exceptional service. By EasyToUse.com. Your Yellow Pages connection in print and online. By Lions 247 with Fight on State, your online home for Penn State football and recruiting coverage. And by the Altoona Mirror, featuring Penn State Game Day every Friday and Penn State Extra every Sunday.
Welcome to Nittany Nation Overtime.
What's going on? Welcome to Nittany Nation Overtime. I'm Peter Terpstra, joined by the Nitwits. We got Neil, we got Mark, and we got former Penn State quarterback Wally Richardson. Thanks for coming. Long trip to Illinois. And Penn State ends up getting the win, 63-24. General observations, they pulled away late. They weren't leading the whole game. Neil, what do you think?
Well, let's start with Mark.
We'll start with Mark
Yeah,
today,
I think
all right.
it's
Well,
only
it was a longer
it's only
trip for
fair.
some of us who
Yeah.
drove.
Yeah,
I give you a lot
I
of
watched the
credit
game.
for grinding that out. But I think the key for me, this is another game where Penn State did not play remotely close to its best game.
Yeah.
There are so many areas where this team still has to improve, and yet you're still winning 63-24. I think it gives you an indication of the level of athletic talent on this team. Even though a lot of it's young, these guys still have to keep learning. And obviously we're going to get to the game that's pending right now. They're going to have to learn real quick this week if you're going to hope to hang with those Buckeyes. So, but to me, again, when you look at the amount of athleticism, it is just absolutely crazy where this program is. They just have to get these kids to stop making some of the mistakes that they're making early in games.
There was a scare. They were trailing.
Yeah, they've shown a lot of really quick strike resiliency. I'd like to, kind of mention Sanders and start out with him.
Yeah.
To me, we all thought Barkley would maybe be irreplaceable, but this kid has, the way he finishes runs and the way he's improved just through the first 3 or 4 games of this season have been really, really impressive. He's not being thrown for losses. He seems to hit the hole possibly a little quicker, and I think they really have something to build around there with the running game.
Yeah, and the O-line, Wally, with an offense, we can talk about McSorley, we can talk about Sanders, but what did you think of the job that O-line did?
Well, they're doing a good job of opening holes. One of the things that I've been looking for them to do this year is really move some people out of the way. You don't see that in football a lot these days, so it's refreshing for me to see that. And our backs are having a lot of success. Trace is having a lot of success running the football, so that's something that we're going to need to be able to do as we continue to move forward this year.
Yeah, it was pretty funny after the game too, Peter. We were there, and Miles just kept saying over. He's still not the most comfortable cat in front of a camera, but Miles Sanders must have said 20 times what a great job the offensive line did. And obviously, Neil, I think you hit on something. Listen, the O-line obviously did a great job, but the great thing about Sanders, he had over 20 carries. He had no negative yardage plays, and that's where he's a little bit better than Saquon, because he's going to get up there and hit that. Now, I'm not saying he's a better back than Saquon, but obviously you have a great option, and then you have Ricky Slade coming in and doing a great job. He had a fumble. I don't know that was necessarily his fault, but again, you talk about the depth of athleticism, and it shows there at running back.
Over on the other side, there's definitely concerns on the defensive side of the ball that we'll get to, but they're finishing a lot of these games they're 70-0 in the fourth quarter in terms of what they've outscored the opponent in the last 3 games since App State.
Well, they also committed early in that game to playing that entire second unit. And I thought maybe it was a little early to do it, but if you looked, when Illinois marched right down the field, it was the entire second defensive unit.
Yeah.
Now, I get that you want to get these guys in and get them reps, and I've been the one saying get these young players playing time, but that is how committed they were, even as Illinois marched right down. Now, we've seen in the past where, okay, a team may get inside the red zone, then all of a sudden, the starters will come back in. Nope, they didn't do that. They committed to getting those young guys reps, even when it was still a game. So I give them credit for going with that plan and sticking with it. Even at the time on our message boards, people were freaking out.
And I think that happened at Pitt too.
Yeah.
So I would ask you, Wally, they're getting they're keeping their starters fresh, and maybe that's why they're finishing strong. But they're letting teams maybe take a little bit more control in the first half than I think people are comfortable with.
Yeah, I think the coaching staff, they keep a lot of guys happy. When a lot of guys are playing, they're involved in the course of the game, and they know they're going to play, so they have a tendency to be ready, and they've shown a tendency not to panic. I think they're very confident, as Mark has spoken to, the athletic ability that's on the team. It makes people that aren't accustomed to backups playing as much as some of our guys do, makes them a little uncomfortable, but we've been fortunate that we've been able to get back where we need to be, and hopefully we'll continue to do that, and those guys will get better as the season goes on.
The idea of a complete game. I don't know if we've really seen that yet. I mean, you've seen flashes everywhere. I mean, special teams, offense, defense. But how is this the time to put it all together?
I would think so, Peter. You're onto something.
Yeah, right. If it's going to happen, it should happen this week.
Well, it better happen this week.
Right, yeah.
If you're going to win this game.
Yeah, and obviously we know what's at stake. I mean, when it comes to dreams of college football playoff, Big Ten championship, all that. I mean, that's all coming into play this week. And they get an extra day to prepare, right? It's gotta,
yeah,
kind of. I mean, they got back at like 5 a.m. on Saturday,
right.
but
I think that was more to the coaching staff. I think the coaching staff was able to put that day to better use because they're crazy and they'll use every second that they can possibly use.
Do they go to sleep or they go right to
That's
the
what
office?
I'm saying, yeah. The coaching staff, I'm sure, was grinding it out, but they, I think, wisely gave the players Saturday off, and I'm sure they were working on corrections on Sunday. But yeah, getting that a little bit of an extra. I do not like Friday night football for college.
No, I don't.
I don't think it's a good thing, but for Penn State, I think it works out that you're able to get the win in and come back with that extra day.
Yeah, I think they're able to get back on their regular schedule. They had a short week that they had to get everything sped up a little bit, but those guys get a day off each week. Their day off was Saturday this week, and get back at it today and get their back on the regular schedule for the rest of the week and preparing for Ohio State.
Real quick, you said about Friday Night Football, and it's supposed to benefit the Purdues and the Illinois and some of the second tier. Illinois drew 70,000 for Penn State in '94 and 70,000 several times.
Right.
Yeah.
They had 34,000 the other day.
Yeah,
and that place
it
was
wasn't
empty.
full.
It wasn't even that one. One more thing before we end the segment. We almost forget to do it, but you have to give Trace McSorley a big shout out as well.
Listen,
he takes what the opponent gives. That is so cool to see. So he doesn't care what his stats are. If they're going to allow him to run it in a game, he's going to run it. If they're going to allow him to pass it, he's going to pass it. The bottom line is he's getting the job done. So I didn't want to let this segment go by without mentioning Trace.
Yeah, he runs the show. Coming up next, we're moving on with our show. Big Ten play with a big time win. This is what Penn State did to start things off, but we'll tell you what concerns we have going forward next.
The NitWits are brought to you by Irwin Financial, Raymond James, an independent firm and a firm foundation for your financial future. By Coldwell Banker, no one will work harder to sell your home. By Courtesy Motor Sales of Altoona, where courtesy means a great deal. By The Allegro, where fine cuisine is a way of life. By Health South, your rehab choice. Health South Altoona, ask for us by name. By Monarch Cleaners, for all your dry cleaning, uniform, and mat rentals.
You're watching Nittany Nation Overtime.
Welcome back to Nittany Nation Overtime. We have the NitWits here with us. All right, Penn State, big win over Illinois to start off Big Ten play. We've talked about what went well, what we liked, but there were a lot of concerns there, especially with the run defense. Looked like Illinois was able to really pound the rock.
Yeah, I mean, James Franklin mentioned it after the game, and I think we kind of knew this going into the season, but their depth at defensive tackle, they have to find some backups who are going to be quality players there. I mean, clearly, with Givens and Windsor, you have two guys who have played a lot of football. They're going to do a good job for you. I don't know that either has star power. I think they're both good, solid football players. Who's going to stand up, get up there and play well behind them? Listen, PJ Mustipher, I almost wonder if they have to commit to this kid. True freshman, 6'4", 300 pounds. He's going to have some growing pains, but I think he has the biggest upside. A guy like Antonio Shelton, he's from Ohio, real strong player, but just not really technically sound. But they have to find somebody in there who's going to be consistent. And I really do think at some point, maybe it's not this week, but you have to commit to a guy like PJ Mustipher.
Well, you got an open date coming. So I'm sure that'll be part of the evaluation process. Justin Kirpakis last week in his Nitwit debut made a point about questioning who is the leader on defense. Who are the people that are going to be rallied, are going to get everybody to rally around. And I think that surfaced again. It looks to me like the coaches just maybe aren't sure who they really want to commit to in certain spots.
Linebacker is a big one. It seems like they're playing a bunch of different guys, and you see good things and you see bad things, but you need consistency. Wally, I mean, what concerns you right now with this team going into the game?
I think just mistakes. Tackling has been a big issue for us. You know, every game that we've played, I think we need to see some significant improvement there. When you have the opportunity to get guys on the ground, you got to get them on the ground, and especially with the type of opponent that we're going to be playing this week, we've got to we can't have those mistakes. Mistakes that we've made against other teams, you can't make them against Ohio State. So I think there needs to be a concerted focus on the players and just making sure they eliminate the mistakes. They know what they're doing so they can go out there and play fast. It's pretty amazing that there were, I think, 10 kickoffs in the game by Penn State and only about 25 return yards.
Yeah.
So Raphael
Cheka.
Yeah, he
doing
was
a good job, but in a game like Ohio State, you can't kick two out of bounds.
Yeah.
So as good as he has done, everything's magnified in a big game.
Yeah, one thing I liked from the game was the fact that they seemed to tighten up all the drop balls that were an issue, especially Juwan Johnson. They are going to need him to come through. It's hard to believe that was only his second touchdown at Penn State. The other one obviously being against Iowa last year. Yeah. But as good as some of the younger receivers are, you need a veteran who you know you're going to be able to depend on. Listen, KJ Hamler's tremendous, but I think you need a guy like Juwan Johnson to really step up and continue to show that consistency.
Well, I think and that was shown right from the jump on the first possession where they went to him a couple times. They clearly have to establish his confidence. Yeah, I was curious about DeAndre Tompkins, too, because he's a kid that at punt return had a pretty good punt return for the very first one, but they're still trying to play Hamler at punt return. I like Hamler at kickoff return, but Tompkins has a good track record now as your punt returner.
Well, I'm okay with Hamler wherever they use him because I think he has an extra gear. As much as they like to argue among each other in a fun way about who's the fastest guy on a team, I think when you look at functional football speed, KJ Hamler is a special player, and I think that's not a knock on Tompkins because he was a terrific punt returner last year, and he's done a really good job this year, has a touchdown, but I never have a qualm with them getting that football in KJ Hamler's hands.
Real quick at quarterback, they get up big in another game. Tommy Stevens, what's going on?
What is going on?
I'm not sure. I mean, is it? You think it's a situation where
they said he
Clifford
was physically able to play?
Right. You think Clifford might be moving into the backup role? I mean, he's played well.
Well, I mean, his quarterback rating is still ridiculous, 400 or whatever it is. But no, I think Tommy Stevens is going to be the backup guy. I was a little bit surprised that they didn't try to get him in at least a little bit in this game and in his Lion role, not necessarily as a quarterback, just because do you want to have him coming back against Ohio State? But their medical staff knows better better than we do, obviously, but if he was really good to go 2 weeks ago against Kent State, I thought they would have maybe slid him out there and got him at least a couple reps, but we'll see what happens against Ohio State. Maybe they have some things that they haven't quite showed us that they're ready to unleash lion-wise on the Buckeyes.
Ohio State, the big one, coming up next. The Buckeyes coming to town. We're going to tell you what we expect next.
The Nitwits are brought to you by Reed and Solaney Orthodontics. Doctors Reed and Solaney provide orthodontics for children and adults. By W.S. Lee & Sons, your local food distributor. Go Penn State. By Allegheny Street Cigar. Allegheny Street Cigar, Blair County's only cigar lounge. By McAleer's Plumbing, specializing in plumbing, heating, and air conditioning, serving our community since 1886. By Shields Awards and the Sports Shop. We have a fantastic selection of awards, apparel, and memorabilia at great prices. By Freedom RV. Get ready to tailgate this Penn State football season with Freedom RV Rentals.
You're watching Nittany Nation Overtime.
Welcome back to the show. We have the Nitwits here. All right, folks. Ohio State, primetime, whiteout game. This is the one, for me, I look at the schedule and I'm like, oh man, like this is where you find out. While you've been in a lot of big games. I mean, how does this one feel?
Well, I think the guys will be excited about it. They know they've got a top-tier opponent coming in, a lot of notable players they'll be playing against, and they'll want to do well. Everybody's family's coming in town. We've got a lot of alums coming back in town trying to get tickets, all of the rigmarole that goes with that. So it's a heightened state of enthusiasm on everybody's part, and I'm sure the guys are looking forward to the whole college game day experience and those people being around campus and everybody in class talking about it. So it's a big week.
Do you just want to announce now in your roles as with the Letterman's Club that it's going to be difficult for your guys to get tickets for this game if you don't already have them?
Secondary market if they're looking for something. Yes.
But isn't this what college football is all about, and what being in the Big Ten is all about? I know when Penn State first went into the Big Ten, a lot of people weren't thrilled with it, and I know Penn State may never have a natural rivalry like Ohio State, Michigan, but this is a really good rivalry, an awful lot at stake. The winner of this game is in the driver's seat early on for the Big Ten East, one of the toughest conference or divisions in all of football. This is just great, and I think the fact that both teams are coming into this thing undefeated, ranked in the top 10, I'm just really looking forward to it. Again, this is what college football is all about.
And I agree with all the, whether it's even splitting hairs on the rivalry, there's no bigger game than this.
Yeah, game days.
I mean, and it has been on their schedule. It's been wonderful. And the whiteout, the way they've established the best atmosphere in college football, they were taking it up a level. They're on a big 16-game win streak at home, including Ohio State a couple of years ago. So
the other cool thing, with both teams going through different sanctions and whatnot, this has there have been some blowouts, sure, as we all well know, but there have been some great games, just thrilling games. Even last year, I know as a Penn State fan, you're mad that Penn State lost last year, but that was a tremendous game. Obviously, a couple years ago was a tremendous game. In 2011, when Penn State went out there, I mean, so this is what, again, being in a major conference, taking on the best of the best. Listen, everybody knows where Ohio State is. Penn State's climbing. Penn State's climbing. Now let's see how close they are to Ohio State.
Each is one on the other guy's field.
Yep.
So, and Penn State had a lot of success with Ohio State way back, before they got in the Big Ten. So, it's all there in front of them. I think that to get to the college football playoff, I think you have to win this game.
And let's also say this. Yeah, and I'm sorry.
I mean, if you lose this game, I don't know that you're going to be able to get to the playoff.
But let's bring up one other thing. And Wally, I'm sorry we're leaving you out right here. But for all of the griping about not playing Pitt, moving forward, blah blah blah, I don't care. These are the games that I want to see. Yeah. These are the games that I want to see. In this games in this conference against this caliber of competition, that's what I think everybody wants to see.
You look at the teams, keys to the game, X's and O's. Wally, what you've seen from Penn State, what do they have to do well? What is something they have to establish, or outside of consistency, but how do they win this game?
Run the 2-minute drill like Wally. Of course, McSorley's good at it.
Yeah,
he's very good. I think defensively, we haven't been in a position where we've had to stop people, get some stops when the game really matters. I think that's going to be a case this weekend where we're going to have to do that a couple times. And Ohio State has a pretty good offense. They've got a good trigger man at quarterback, solid running backs. Offensive line has done a good job so far. So we're going to have to neutralize them. And that's going to be the challenge for the defense. I think our offense, they need to make sure that they convert third downs, keep drives going, and when they have opportunities to score the football, make sure we've had 4 touchdowns called back in the last 2 weeks, if my count is correct. So we can't have those type of errors against Ohio State.
Special teams. I mean, we've seen it the last couple of years.
Difference
How
maker.
huge special teams are when you get these two teams playing against one another. Ohio State has good special teams. Penn State has been up and down. Penn State has an outstanding punter who I think could really be a difference maker in this game. And let's see how Jake Pinniger is able to kind of react. That was a difficult kick that he attempted against Illinois.
Into the lane.
You're going to, I think, have more field goal opportunities in this game than usual, and than you might against an Illinois or a Kent State, is my point.
And you look at the last 2 games that these teams have played, the momentum of each of those games is swung on a blocked kick.
Yeah.
So, that's what it comes down to. So you got to make sure that you really know what you're doing on special teams.
And I touched on it real quick earlier, is they established Juwan Johnson early in this game. They ran the ball 51 times against Illinois. I don't think that was by accident. I think they know that they have to keep Ohio State's offense off the field and that they have to emphasize the run more than at times they have. Even though at times I think they run McSorley too much at times because he puts them in harm's way. I think you're going to see that.
And that was maybe less about Miles Sanders than it was about the O-line, because those guys, that was about as well as I've seen a Penn State O-line play. I guess there have been other games where they've played really well, but those guys kind of just forced their will on Illinois, and they're going to need to play. They're not going to be able to play at that level against Ohio State. Ohio State with Larry Johnson, they have some better defensive linemen.
Half that staff was
there. But the point being, that O-line is going to be real key to this game.
All right, predictions time coming up next. Can Penn State pull off this win over the Buckeyes? Next.
The NitWits are brought to you by Jethro's, serving ribs, steaks, Italian specialties, and the famous Prospector salad since 1983. Takeouts, delivery, and catering. By Lucky's Beer Distributor. Let Lucky's Beer get you ready for PSU game day. By Remax Results Realty Group, committed to a culture of professionalism, productivity, and exceptional service. By EasyToUse.com, your Yellow Pages connection in print and online. By Lions 247 with Fight on State, your online home for Penn State football and recruiting coverage. And by the Altoona Mirror, featuring Penn State Game Day every Friday and Penn State Extra every Sunday.
You're watching Nittany Nation Overtime.
All right, here we are, Nitwit of the Week. Neil, you got it done.
Thank you, Pete.
All right, Ohio State, though. What are you thinking?
Well, you know what? I am picking Penn State. McSorley has been a special player there. He was 8 for 23 2 years ago. I think this kid has just really been the heart of a champion, and it's a special place at night. I'm going to say Penn State 37, Ohio State 34.
I think it's going to be a shootout. I would pick the over, whatever it is. The issue that I would have with Penn State is that it has not played a complete game, and I think it's a lot to ask to play your first complete game against the Buckeyes. So I'm actually going to go the other way. I think Ohio State wins on maybe a late field goal. I'll go 42-40.
Penn State 36-27. Wally, what do you think?
I'm going to say it's going to be a back-and-forth game. It'll probably come down to play in the kicking game, but I'm going to say Penn State 31-30.
All right, there you have it. Ohio State, Penn State coming up this next Saturday. We'll be back after that one. See ya.
The NitWits are brought to you by Irwin Financial, Raymond James, an independent firm and a firm foundation for your financial future. By Coldwell Banker, no one will work harder to sell your home. By Courtesy Motor Sales of Altoona, where courtesy means a great deal. By The Allegro, where fine cuisine is a way of life. By Health South, your rehab choice. Health South Altoona, Ask for us by name. By Monarch Cleaners, for all your dry cleaning, uniform, and mat rentals. By Reed and Solaney Orthodontics. Doctors Reed and Solaney provide orthodontics for children and adults. By W.S. Lee & Sons, your local food distributor. Go Penn State. By Allegheny Street Cigar. Allegheny Street Cigar, Blair County's only cigar lounge. By McAleer's Plumbing, specializing in plumbing, heating, and air conditioning, serving our community since 1886. By Shields Awards and the Sports Shop. We have a fantastic selection of awards, apparel, and memorabilia at great prices. By Freedom RV. Get ready to tailgate this Penn State football season with Freedom RV Rentals. By Jethro's, serving ribs, steaks, Italian specialties, and the famous Prospector Salad since 1983. Takeouts, delivery, and catering. By Lucky's Beer Distributor. Let Lucky's Beer get you ready for PSU game day. By Remax Results Realty Group, committed to a culture of professionalism, productivity, and exceptional service. By EasyToUse.com, your Yellow Pages connection in print and online. By Lions 247 with Fight on State, your online home for Penn State football and recruiting coverage. And by the Altoona Mirror, featuring Penn State Game Day every Friday and Penn State Extra every Sunday. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.